Hello everyone, how you doing? I hope you're all doing really well today. I would say welcome back, but I really should be welcoming myself back because I've not been here, I've not been posting. Life decided to do its thing, it got a bit lifey and I had to take some time out to deal with that and also decompress and get myself into a position where I was able to give you guys the content that you deserve. So I really do appreciate you persevering with me. Thank you very much, but I am back and there will be no more interruptions. So today I have New Metal Monday, where I talk about my favourite new releases of the week, and I'm going to be doing things a little bit differently this week because as well as giving you new records that have been released this week, I also want to do a very quick recap of last week when I wasn't here as well. So I have 4 brand new albums from last week and also 4 brand new albums from this week to talk about. Okay, so the first 4 albums that I want to talk about are from this week's new releases, and the first one I have is Grima with Nightside, and this is the 6th studio album from the atmospheric melodic black metal band from Siberia. Now I love my atmospheric melodic black metal. You've got your intense tremolo picking, blast beats that are incredibly thunderous and just seem to go on forever. You've got the cool keyboard aspect that creates this very haunting atmosphere, really heavy, harsh melodies, and the vocal style is primarily rasping screams and growls that are very venomous. But you've also got your death metal growls and the occasional clean singing as well, which takes the form of a more choir-like backing vocal. But the thing that I really liked the most about this record is the use of the bayan, I think that's how you pronounce it, which is a chromatic button accordion which was created in the early 20th century Russian Empire. And this accordion creates a very folk, haunting, eerie atmosphere, but there's something quite charming about it as well. Now, don't get me wrong, it took me a little bit of time to get my head around this record. It took me a little bit of time to fully absorb it, but there was something that drew me in and I kept going back to it, and it took me quite a lot of listens. I would say maybe about 5 or 6 listens because I was belligerent about this. There was something that really grabbed my attention about this album, and I kept going back to it until it finally clicked in my head, and I'm so glad that it did because I completely fell in love with the album after this. So I think the accordion can be a little bit jarring in this, but I think that's the point, and it creates this very eerie, spooky folk element to it, which just creates an incredible layer of atmosphere. So if you combine that accordion with the keyboards and the melodic guitar tones, it is a densely atmospheric record which is going to completely rip your face off. So if you are a fan of the likes of Agaloch, Winter Filleth or Wolves in the Throne Room, this one is definitely for you. But my advice on this one is, despite the fact I absolutely love it now, it took me a couple of listens to fully absorb it. So if you don't really click with it straight away, give it a chance. Okay, so next up on my list, I know I'm going to pronounce this incorrectly, but I have Havukruunu with Tavastland. And this is the 5th studio album from the pagan black metal band from Finland. I love everything about this record. It's fantastic. This record has absolutely everything in it. You've got your intense tremolo picking, your blistering blast beats, your really dense rhythms and melodics, really cool riffs, screaming solos which are intricate, detailed, incredibly harsh, but there's a beauty behind them at the same time. The vocal style is primarily growls, gutturals and screaming, but you do have the occasional clean vocal thrown into the mix there, which again is very much backing choir-like vocals, which creates this very dense atmosphere. But the really cool thing about this record is the concept behind it. So the story is of the Tavastland people who were in an uprising and in rebellion against the Church of Christ in 1237, and you really do get that ritualistic, pagan, ancient spirit energy when you're listening to this. Not to mention the fact that it's incredibly catchy. So like I said, it does have a lot of dense melodies and really cool rhythms. You've got your stompy stomps in there as well, which are really cool and very groove laden. And there's just something very captivating about this record. And I absolutely fell in love with it from the moment I pressed play for the very first time. So if you're a fan of the likes of Bathory, Moonsorrow, Fellwarden, and a little bit of Rotting Christ vibes in there too, this one is definitely for you. But I love the whole concept about this record, how incredibly rousing and catchy it is, and it just fills you with this sense of motivation and determination when you're listening to it. But it's going to completely annihilate everything at the same time, and I love that combination. Definitely check this one out. Okay, so next up on my list, I have Ofnus with Valediction, and this is the second studio album from the atmospheric, melodic, epic black metal band from the UK. This record is majestic in nature, but you also have all of that face-melting brutality that comes with black metal, balanced with eerie atmosphere and really dense, harsh melodics. This is an incredibly captivating record to listen to. Now, I had the opportunity to see these guys live recently when they were supporting Sewer, and they're absolutely incredible. So if they're coming to a city near you, definitely grab tickets because it's an incredible experience seeing these guys live. Their energy and their stage presence is phenomenal. The guitar tones are very ethereal in nature, but they're very intense at the same time, and that adds to the atmosphere of this record too. And the thing that I really like the most about this is the vocal style. Now, it is primarily your blackened screams, which are very venomous and rasping, but when those death growls come into play, they are incredibly low and bassy, so very demonic, and that really makes a fantastic contrast with the black metal screaming and rasping, and I think it's absolutely fantastic the way they utilize the vocal style to create that atmosphere as well. Now, there are some elements of doom, pagan and folk throughout this record as well, but it is primarily an atmospheric black metal record, which is incredibly powerful and enticing to listen to. So if you are a fan of the likes of Emperor, Sewer, Stormkeep or Moonlight Sorcery, this one is definitely for you, but definitely check this out. The album artwork is stunning as well. A deeply frosty, blistering, bleak black metal record full of atmosphere and dense melodics with a little bit of a ritualistic edge to it. Definitely check this one out. Okay, so next up on my list, I'm coming away from the black metal side of things, and I have Serenity and Murder with Timeless Reverie, and this is symphonic melodic death metal from Japan. This record is beyond stunning, really heavy on the symphonics and the orchestration, which creates this grandiose and opulent atmosphere. But if you team that with melodic death metal, and it's the heavier side of the melodic death metal subgenre, this is an incredibly powerful, fully immersive experience. It is just a soundscape of sheer rage and aggression. Now, even though this record is very heavy on the symphonic and the orchestration side of things, it's also very guitar driven at the same time, so you can expect a lot of really cool melodies, intricate riffs, and flying solos that weave and soar are so incredibly powerful and beautiful at the same time. Not to mention the breakdowns in this. They sent chills up my spine when I was listening to this record. I love the fact that they've managed to balance beauty and sheer aggression so perfectly well. But the thing that really stood out to me the most about this is the vocal style. Now, I have no idea if I'm pronouncing her name correctly, so if I'm not, I'm really sorry, but Ayumu's screams and growls are ridiculously powerful. They are earth-shattering, full of power and energy, and there's something incredibly demonic about them. This is an incredible record. I absolutely loved everything about this, from the melodies to the breakdowns, the heaviness, the orchestration. It has everything. So if you are a fan of the likes of Septic Flesh, Flesh God Apocalypse with a little bit of Atavistia in there, this one is definitely for you, but check it out. Again, stunning artwork as well at the same time. Lots of symphonics, lots of orchestration, cool guitars, and brimming with muscular attitude. Definitely check it out. Okay, so I want to do a quick recap on last week's new releases that I missed, and the first one that I have is Sacrifice with Volume 6, and this is the 6th studio album from the Canadian thrash metal band. Now, this is old school thrash metal, which I absolutely love, but it does have a harsher, almost blackened edge to it. So if you are a fan of the likes of Annihilator, Destruction, Creator, Dark Angel, with a little bit of Slayer thrown into the mix, this one is definitely for you. But really cool riffs, thrashy energy, muscular attitude, and the instrumentations are incredibly dark and enticing, but it's a very bouncy, fun record to listen to. Definitely check it out if you like your thrash metal. Okay, so next up on my list from last week, I have Abduction with Existentialismus, and this is the 5th studio album from the UK black metal band. This is a very bleak, despairing black metal record that has a lot of really harsh melodics and atmosphere behind it. But the melodies are incredibly furious, there's a lot of really cool progressive moments, not to mention some groove-laden stompy stomps throughout too. And it's just an utter dreamscape of black metal that really entices you and hooks you in. And I have to put emphasis on how blistering and unrelenting this record is. So yes, there is a lot of harsh melodies behind it, but it's incredibly brutal and aggressive at the same time. So if you are a fan of the likes of Uada, Migwa, Spectral Wound, or early Behemoth, this one is definitely for you, but I really enjoyed this. It's incredibly harsh, blistering, bleak, but completely captivating at the same time. Okay, so next up on my list, I have Defiled Serenity with Within the Slumber of the Mind, and this is the debut album from the melodic death metal band from Finland. Now, this record opens with a spoken word introduction, which I assume is in Finnish. No idea what it says, but it's beautiful. And then it just launches into this captivating, majestic, yet brutally heavy melodic death metal. There's a little bit of melancholy and doom behind there as well, but it's very dense on the melodics and the death metal side of things. Lots of really cool groovy moments. You've got your stompy stomps throughout there as well, so if you know what a stompy stomp is, you'll know what I'm talking about. But if you don't know what a stompy stomp is, that's what I describe as a rhythmical mid-tempo groove stomp, and there's a lot of that throughout this entire record. So if you are into your melodic death metal, which is very guitar driven but also has that kind of doom edge behind it, but it's also incredibly rhythmical and addictive and catchy at the same time, this one is definitely for you. Not to mention the vocal style is incredible as well. You have your guttural growls, which are incredibly demonic, but you've also got the contrast of the clean singing, which is very soaring and very velvety and clear, which is absolutely stunning. So if you are a fan of the likes of Early In Flames, Amorphous, Insomnium and Dark Tranquility, definitely check this one out. But this is an absolutely fantastic debut record. I love my melodic death metal with a little bit of melancholy and a little bit of doom behind it, but it's also got enough energy and rhythm to keep me captivated. This one is definitely for you. Okay, so the last album that I want to talk about this week is Horizon Ignited with Tides, and this is the 3rd studio album from the melodic death metalcore band. Now, when I say metalcore, I do mean the heavier side of the metalcore subgenre. So if you team melodic death metal, the heavier side, the guitar-driven side again, with all of the really cool riffs, the blast beats, the flying solos, and the dense melodies, but you take the breakdowns and the sheer brutal force of metalcore, roll that into one, this is what you get. Now, I am really fussy when it comes to metalcore. I don't really listen to a lot of it, but when I do, it is most definitely the heavier side of things. So if you think Darkest Hour, Shadows Fall, teamed with Burn Down Eden, Cataclysm, and At the Gates, this is exactly what you get. This is incredibly enticing, very captivating, raw, powerful, and energetic. Lots of really cool riffs and solos in this. The guttural growls are intense, and there's just something really cool about this record. It grabs your attention, it hooks you in, and it does not let go. Especially if you are a fan of Cataclysm. I had huge Cataclysm and At the Gates vibes when I was listening to this record. Definitely check it out. Don't sleep on it, it's a really cool record. And that's it for today's very long, very rambly New Metal Monday. Once again, thank you all so much for persevering with me. I am back now and our regular programmes will be going ahead as normal. Let me know what you think of today's records, and if you have any of your own recommendations, please let me know in the comment section below and I will definitely get them added to my list. If you use Spotify, check out the description box because I have included a Spotify playlist link which features features every single album that I talk about on my new Metal Monday videos, so make sure to follow that if you use Spotify. If you don't use Spotify though, you will also find all of the band's Bandcamp links or their YouTube channels down there too, just so you can find the music that I'm talking about as easily as possible. Any articles that I've written for either Moshville Times or Lambgoat will also be included in the description box, as well as all of my social media handles. So if you want to follow me on social media, where I am usually a lot more active, feel free to do so. All the information for that is down below. Thank you so much for all of your support and for persevering with my absence and today's very rambly video. Thank you so much for all of your support and your perseverance. As always, I really do appreciate it, and I will see you very soon in my next video.